Thank you, Chairman Connolly, for calling this hearing regarding the ongoing presidential transition. This year's transition highlights a number of significant shortcomings in the governing statute for transitions, and I think this is something that we all need to look at. At present, it's ultimately a judgment call by the GSA administrator as to when a victor is apparent, in order that they can ascertain the winner before providing post-election funds or services. It's very difficult to operate under the statute of apparent sometimes, and that was certainly the case this year. As I personally made clear in a letter to the GSA on November 13th, even the drafters of the Presidential Transition Act contemplated that an ascertainment should not be made if the results were uncertain and unapparent. Again, that was certainly the case this year. With no guidance or clarity, GSA looked to the precedent set under the Clinton administration in 2000 when it waited until December the 12th decision in the Bush versus Gore in order to make an ascertainment. We certainly have not waited that long. Looking for some element of official action before ascertaining a winner, which ultimately came when key states certified their election results, was an acceptable course of action given the ambiguous nature of this year, as I mentioned earlier. I encourage GSA to do what they are supposed to do, which is to follow the law, not to react to the vitriol being spewed by the political left, enabled by the mainstream media, which quite frankly has become nothing more than their propaganda arm. This led to threats of violence against Administrator Murphy and her staff. This is shameful. It's shameful behavior by everyone who is involved. To those who shriek about the Trump campaign exercising its right to contest the results, I would say it's a bold talk coming from a group that for 4 years has refused to acknowledge the legitimacy of President Trump's victory and his presidency, even to the extent of calling for impeachment before he was even inaugurated, even having investigations and spying into his campaign. And perhaps those are the types of things that the chairman was referring to about this administration not exercising those types of behaviors if there is a transition coming now. When you look at the collusion accusations from the Obama administration, the Clinton campaign, the FBI, and even a Russian agent, all to fabricate a false narrative of collusion against the Trump campaign. This is unbelievable that we're looking at and even making accusations potentially of the Trump campaign right now. Not to mention, as I already referenced, a kangaroo court on an impeachment trial. The reality is that Joe Biden himself has provided an answer to all of this. He said, quote, I think we're going to not be so far behind the curve as we thought we might be in the past. There's a lot of immediate discussion, and I must say the outreach has been sincere, end quote. That coming from Joe Biden himself. Moreover, GSA has been working on the transition for over a year and has provided the Biden campaign resources as early as September, back when Democrats were campaigning on promises to defund the police and implement the Green New Deal. It's not true that the less than 3 weeks, it was less than 3 weeks that I want to emphasize. It's not true that the less than 3 weeks that GSA waited somehow put our national security at risk or delayed distribution of a COVID-19 vaccine. The truth is that Joe Biden had pre-election resources made available to him, and plans for COVID-19 vaccine distribution were well underway. And like the George W. Bush scenario in 2000, nothing prevented Joe Biden from vetting and selecting the individuals he intends to nominate for key positions during those 3 weeks or even before the election. The Trump administration should actually be applauded for their endeavors both pre and post-election. Personally, what I'm concerned about are the many constituents in my district and beyond who don't have confidence in whether the vote was accurately even counted. I'm concerned Democrats have completely ignored the question of election irregularities and have done exactly nothing to investigate them. Mr. Chairman, I hope that at some point we will be able to look at those things because that should be bipartisan. Election integrity impacts everyone in our country and, of course, the entire direction of our country. And I hope we'll be able to go down that path at some point in the future. And with that, I yield back. Thank you.